Hi, Ellen Popkin here, and I'm continuing my series on shape your future with your positive thoughts. And we have covered the letter S, which explains how life is just a series of moments in time. H was how do you perceive those moments. A was basically acknowledging the things that you really want to keep and making the adjustments of what you want to change. And now we're up to P. And P is basically planning, preparing, and I use prayer also. I'm going to put it in there. I mean, I definitely am a firm believer in prayer, and we actually also tithe. So anyway, what I want to speak to you about and share with you is some of the things that my husband and I did to actually change our financial situation, because I know a lot of people, for them, that's, financial goals are a big thing, and, I like to talk from personal experiences and personal success stories. You can actually use this shape format for any goal that it is that you want to change. But one of the things that we did to prepare, and remember, we're talking about preparing mindset here. So we're preparing, and we're planning, and we're praying, and we're using all these three things for our mindset. Okay? So in terms of financial situation, what is the mindset of a wealthy person, somebody who actually is financially independent? I used the example in the previous video. If you're saying to yourself, well, I would like more money, hey, I can give you 2 cents. Guess what? You just got yourself some more money. But that's not really what you meant. So what is it that they have? They have disposable income. Okay, that was one of the things that we had decided. People who are wealthy have disposable income. And a lot of you might be saying, well, Mary Ellen, I'm living like from paycheck to paycheck, Well, I can tell you, I mean, my husband and I have been married 9 years now. We started out, we were in a little apartment. Today we have 3 homes. I'll get into how that whole plan arose. But anyway, the disposable income can be just as simple as saying to yourself, look, I'm going to find an extra $5. Now, if you're telling me you can't find $5, that you spend in the vending machine, going to get yourself a morning coffee, whatever it is. I mean, there's definitely $5, $10, $15, and you could probably figure out more that you can put aside every week and invest, basically. I mean, right away you might want to just start out with a bank account, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But, $5, that becomes disposable income where you're actually now setting something up. The other thing for us was, then all of a sudden, so now we created this, and now we have savings. We have, quote unquote, we've started an emergency fund. So this way, in the event of an emergency, we knew we'd have the cash. We would plan for things, and I remember wanting hardwood floors in our home in New York, and I sat down and I visualized it, and I was working in a home-based business, and I had the means, to get the cash together, and but it actually, believe it or not, when you start getting into this mindset, it came sooner, because my husband, with his career path that he was on and getting promotions and raises, he actually got what they would call bonus, and it's very rare. His boss said to him, in the 10 or 15 years that he had been in that career, he never gave one of those out to anybody before, and it was a couple $1,000s, and it was like, he said, hey, good news, guess what, we can get those floors done sooner. We got them done sooner. So sometimes, your plans change, but the money still came. So I mean, the plan was to get hardwood floors. That was a wish and a desire of mine. I had totally planned on paying for it out of my discretionary fund, out of the income that I brought in. We pool our resources, but we also have some discretionary income that we like to have. And, so these are things that you can do with your mindset. And, you actually make goals. I mean, make financial goals. Like for example, I started my home-based business when my son was 6 months old. My daughter was 2.5. And I said by the time the 2 of them are in school, I want to be up to a certain income level. And, that if I, to achieve, was going to work and achieve that income level, and therefore be able to not have to think about going back out into the workforce. Now, we have accomplished that, and Jacob's not even in school yet. He's just 3. He won't be in school. I mean, I'll probably put him in pre-K as opposed to starting like kindergarten like I did with my daughter. So it'll be another year or two before he actually starts school. But we attained it actually ahead of the time and we set it. Now I believe there's some things that came into play there in the home-based business industry. One of the things was it does take time to build these up. And a lot of people will sit there and they'll work and, maybe they'll build up, if they say $50 in repeat residual income. And they'll say to themselves, oh my gosh, I just did all this work and this is all I have to show for it, a lousy $50, But see, we didn't choose to see it that way. My husband and I, we chose to see that repeat residual income because we knew it was going to continue to grow, and it did, and then, I remember I was so excited when it hit 1,000 and everything. We chose to say, hey, if I was to have $50 come in every month, and say you could even actually find a place where you can get 10% interest and you were getting the dividends, how much money, and you do the math, how much money would you have to have put aside? And then all of a sudden you start seeing yourself as having $5 extra thousand put aside, $10 extra thousand put aside, $15 extra thousand put aside. It really didn't matter that it wasn't necessarily in the bank or whatever, so to speak, in the actual account, although it does grow like that. It does become that way because the monthly checks were coming, and that's how we saw them. We saw them that way, and I had my book, which gave me some royalty checks. And I have to admit in the beginning that the royalty checks were small, but we didn't see them. See, I didn't say, oh geez, they're small. I got excited with each and every one because when you can sell one, what's to stop you from selling 100 and 100,000? It's just a matter of learning how to do that if you've learned how to sell one. Actually that was, that one was published through a publisher, and so on and so forth. But we did learn how to do some more self-promotion on that. And, and look at it in terms of, instead of seeing, when I get those checks for work that I've done, that book was published in 2001, and I'm still getting, royalties on it, for work that I did one time, and I'm still getting paid on it. And, you can look at that and say, well, what was it that you got this year? And say that's like having an extra blank, money, somewhere sitting around. And that makes your wealth, and it brings your consciousness up, and what happened, I remember when we were living in our apartment, we were married 9 years ago, and we had an apartment, and we just always knew we were going to be homeowners. There was just no doubt in our mind that we were going to own a home. And the apartment was just convenient, but we knew we were going to own a home. And, I remember we would get very excited at tax time. Most people dread doing their taxes. We didn't. We looked at it as time when we would sit there and say, okay, where are we going to invest our money? And every year at tax time we kept saying, we're getting an investment property. We're getting an investment property. Now this is before we actually bought our home. Guess what? Here it is 9 years later, and we have 3 homes. We have one that we actually just have as an investment property. It is an investment property. The other 2 homes that we have, we really could be renting out the one home. We choose not to. It's in New York, so we actually could even rent out the garage that we have, and we just choose not to, because we go back to New York. We have family there, and we like it, and we don't need to. The home that we're living in here, my husband might get relocated again. We see this as being an investment property, basically. So, do you see what I'm saying? Before the actual investment property was about, and, I haven't really given you a laid out plan, so to speak, the actual strategy, because this is really a mindset plan, the mindset, and then the ways came. So by changing our perception of money, by changing our how we viewed money and how we handled money and how we viewed it, that's what really brought about more finances, more money, more financial security. And it's the same thing whatever your goal is. So this is Mary Ellen Popkin sharing some of these tips. That's mentorwithmaryellen.com is one of my websites. I look forward to you rating these videos. Definitely leave comments and rate them, and let me know, maybe some topics that you might want to hear next. And I have a website, mentorwithmaryellen.com. So I will see you on the next video, where we will discuss the last thing, which is so much fun, E, which stands for enjoy. Okay, and with that, enjoy.